Have you ever woken up feeling more drained than when you went to bed, like something in the room is taking your energy? Or perhaps you've sensed a strange heaviness that lingers, even after you've prayed or tried to shake it off. If any of this sounds familiar, especially as Holy Week draws near, you're not alone. This isn't just a coincidence. It's a sign that something needs to be addressed. There could be something in your room right now that's subtly inviting negativity and disturbing your peace. But don't worry, because today, we're going to explore what might be happening in your bedroom, why it's affecting your spiritual well-being, and most importantly, how to protect yourself and your family from these disruptions. Welcome to the channel, brothers and sisters in Christ. If you're new here, I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss out on more content like this. We're building a community focused on spiritual growth, protection, and bringing peace into our homes. In this video, I'll be sharing a powerful message about how the enemy can use things in your bedroom, things that seem harmless, to create unrest, especially during this important season of Holy Week. Stick with me as we unpack this and learn how to reclaim your space and restore peace in your home. Your bedroom is much more than just a space to sleep. It's a sanctuary where you retreat to recover, reflect, and prepare for the day ahead. It's where you lay down your burdens and seek rest, both physically and spiritually. But what many fail to realize is that the very space where you go to recharge can also become a battleground if not guarded properly. It's a place of vulnerability, a space where your spirit is exposed, and that makes it especially sensitive to the forces around us, seen and unseen. Take a moment and think. When was the last time you experienced unrest in your room? Perhaps it's a pattern that you've noticed more lately. Arguments that seem to come out of nowhere, a persistent sense of heaviness that lingers in the air, or even insomnia that won't let you rest. These aren't just random occurrences. There's something more at work, and it's not a coincidence. When the Holy Week approaches, we step into a time of spiritual significance, and the enemy knows this. This is when he works harder than ever to find cracks and weaknesses in our lives. Could there be something in your room that's widening that crack? An object, a symbol, or an attachment that's spiritually inviting disturbance? It might seem small or insignificant, but these things have a way of influencing your peace and your connection to God. The enemy doesn't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes he uses the unnoticed, the subtle, things that seem harmless but are anything but. We have to ask ourselves, what's in our bedroom right now that could be unknowingly allowing darkness to creep in? It's time to open our eyes, remove distractions, and make sure that our spaces are places where God's peace can truly dwell. If you feel the weight of this message, stay with me, because in the coming moments, you'll discover exactly what needs to be addressed. It's time to take action and protect the place that should be your spiritual haven. There are 3 objects, seemingly harmless, that many of us unknowingly keep in our rooms. Objects that, if not carefully considered, can invite evil into our homes. These things may appear innocent, even sacred at times, but they carry a deeper spiritual significance that we often overlook. As we approach Holy Week, a time of heightened spiritual activity, it's crucial to understand the dangers these objects pose. Padre Pio, a man deeply attuned to the spiritual realm, warned about these very things. And today, I want to share his wisdom with you. The first object might surprise you. It's something many of us have in our rooms without giving it a second thought. It could be a symbol or an object tied to superstition, the occult, or even ancestral beliefs. Padre Pio was clear about this. Anything that serves as an idol or that holds occult significance, even if it seems innocent, can spiritually poison the environment around us. These objects may not seem threatening at first, but over time, they can subtly influence the atmosphere of your home, drawing you away from God and opening doors to spiritual unrest. Next, let's consider a different type of object, those tied to emotional wounds, pain, and trauma. Many of us keep old photographs, letters, or mementos that carry emotional weight. They may be reminders of lost love, broken relationships, or painful moments in our past. While these objects may hold sentimental value, Padre Pio taught that holding on to unhealed wounds, particularly in the spaces where we rest, can open the door to spiritual attacks. Every time we look at these items, we stir up old emotions that keep us tied to the past, making it harder for us to move forward spiritually and emotionally. The enemy knows this and can use it as a foothold to disturb our peace. Finally, we come to the third object. At first glance, it seems sacred, holy even. It's something we often see in bedrooms, perhaps a crucifix, a rosary, or a religious image. However, if not properly treated or if acquired in the wrong way, this object can become a conduit for evil. It's deceiving because it appears to offer protection, but if it's spiritually corrupted in any way, it can invite negative forces into your space. Padre Pio knew that the appearance of holiness doesn't guarantee divine protection. The power of these sacred objects lies not in their outward form, but in the way they are used, respected, and blessed. As we reflect on these warnings, it's important to consider the objects in your room right now. Are any of them contributing to the unrest you feel? Are there things in your space that may seem harmless, but are subtly affecting your spiritual well-being? Take a moment to reflect. This is not just about clearing out physical clutter. It's about protecting your spiritual peace and reclaiming your space as a sanctuary where only God's presence dwells. Padre Pio, one of the most revered saints in Catholic history, was not only a man of profound faith, but also someone who understood the unseen battles that take place in the spiritual realm. He lived through countless spiritual confrontations, fighting against forces that we may never see but feel deeply in our souls. Padre Pio's wisdom comes from first-hand experience. He knew how the enemy works because he faced those battles every day, both physically and spiritually. During Holy Week, a time when the heavens draw near, the enemy grows more desperate to infiltrate our lives and homes. And unfortunately, he often uses subtle tactics to slip into the places we least expect. Padre Pio once said, "The enemy attacks most fiercely when we are closest to God." This statement is both a warning and a call to action. During Holy Week, when we are most focused on God's sacrifice and resurrection, the enemy is working overtime to disrupt our peace and prevent us from fully entering into the grace of this holy time. It's not by chance that we often face spiritual difficulties, particularly during this period of heightened prayer and reflection. But here's the truth. When you draw closer to God, the enemy becomes desperate, and that's when he looks for any opportunity to get in. Your bedroom, the place where you rest, sleep, and recharge, is often the first place the enemy targets. It's the most vulnerable space in your home because it's where you let down your guard, physically and spiritually. During Holy Week, as we open our hearts to Christ, our rooms, our personal spaces become battlegrounds. Padre Pio could see this clearly. He witnessed how the enemy tries to exploit the smallest cracks in our lives, the places where we are most open. Whether it's through objects tied to past traumas or items associated with the occult, the enemy knows where to strike. He doesn't need to come in force. He needs just a small opening to introduce confusion, unrest, and negativity. Padre Pio was deeply attuned to the invisible struggles that play out in our homes. He warned that the objects we hold on to, especially those connected to painful memories or negative spiritual influences, can attract dark forces into the places where we are most vulnerable. These items, sometimes innocently kept or inherited, carry more spiritual weight than we realize. If we fail to cleanse our spaces, we allow these forces to linger, affecting our peace, our relationships, and our spiritual connection to God. The enemy thrives in the shadows, and he waits for us to neglect our spiritual vigilance. Padre Pio's teachings weren't just about the grand battles we fight in the world. They were also about the quiet, daily struggles in our homes. He knew that true protection comes when we are aware of these dangers and take active steps to guard our hearts, our homes, and our lives from the spiritual harm that can creep in when we least expect it. The time is now to reflect on what we allow into our personal spaces and to take decisive action to purify them. Now, let's get straight to the point. There are 3 objects that you should never leave in your room, especially as we approach Holy Week. These objects may seem harmless, even meaningful, but they carry the potential to disrupt your spiritual peace and invite negativity into your space. Padre Pio was clear about the dangers they pose, and today, we're going to uncover them. The first object is anything related to the occult or superstition. This includes things like tarot cards, crystals, charms, or anything that seeks to harness spiritual forces outside of God. Padre Pio was adamant about this. When we turn to anything other than God for spiritual guidance or power, we open the door for evil to enter. These objects may seem innocent, even fashionable, but they can be conduits for dark forces. If you have any such items in your room, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, it's time to remove them. This isn't just about cleaning up, it's about safeguarding your space and your spirit. The second object is something that might be harder to part with: emotional attachments. Think about it. How many old photographs, love letters, or keepsakes tied to past relationships or painful moments do you keep around? Padre Pio taught that when we hold on to emotional wounds, we're unknowingly inviting darkness into our lives. Every time we look at an item tied to pain, we reopen that wound, and the enemy feeds off of it. It's not just about memories. It's about letting go of what hurts so we can move forward. If you have items like this in your bedroom, holding on to them only prolongs the spiritual clutter and emotional weight. Padre Pio encouraged people to release these attachments to find healing. Let go, and you will make room for peace. And then, we come to the third object. This one might surprise you, but it's just as critical. The third object is religious items that have been improperly blessed or obtained. You might be thinking, how can something that's supposed to protect me be dangerous? Well, Padre Pio warned that not all religious objects carry the same spiritual weight. A rosary or crucifix that comes from a questionable source or was treated disrespectfully can lose its power to shield you. This doesn't mean that religious objects themselves are harmful, but it does mean that their origin and the way they are treated matters. If you have a religious item in your room that has not been properly blessed or was acquired through questionable means, it could lose the divine protection it is supposed to offer. Padre Pio emphasized that the power of these items lies not just in their symbolism, but in the blessing and reverence we give them. These 3 objects, occult items, emotional attachments, and improperly blessed religious objects, are more than just things in your room. They are spiritual influences that can affect the atmosphere of your home. Padre Pio's teachings were clear. We must protect our spaces, especially during Holy Week, by removing anything that could invite darkness into our lives. Now is the time to take action and purify your environment, so you can invite peace and protection into your home. Now, here's the good news. There is a way to protect your home, and it all begins with purifying your bedroom. Padre Pio shared a powerful purification ritual, one that anyone can perform. It's not about elaborate rituals or complicated ceremonies. It's about reclaiming your space for God and making it a sanctuary of peace and protection. The best part? This ritual doesn't require special tools or knowledge. It simply requires your faith and intention. The first step in this purification process is to remove any dangerous objects, anything that could be inviting darkness or holding on to emotional trauma. This includes those items we've already discussed: occult objects, emotional keepsakes, and religious items that haven't been properly blessed. By removing these objects, you're starting the process of creating a space that's free from negative spiritual influence. It's an act of cleansing, of taking away anything that doesn't belong to God. Next, you'll want to purify the space. Padre Pio recommended using holy water. Holy water has been blessed by a priest, and it serves as a powerful vehicle for God's grace. You don't need to sprinkle it all over. Just start at the door, move around the room, and say a simple prayer. As you do, pray Psalm 91 aloud. This psalm is a prayer of protection, and it's known for its powerful spiritual defense. Let the words of Psalm 91 fill the room as you move through it. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. As you speak these words, you're inviting God's presence and power to fill every corner of your space. Finally, the third step is to consecrate your room. Take a crucifix, rosary, or image of the Virgin Mary and place it in a visible place in your room. These sacred objects serve as constant reminders of God's protection. As you place them, pray the rosary in full. The rosary is a powerful prayer, and by praying it, you are asking for Mary's intercession to help protect you, your family, and your home from any evil influences. This final step is all about dedicating your space, your room, to God, inviting His presence to dwell there and ensuring that no darkness can take root. When you follow these steps, you're doing more than just cleaning your room. You are actively dedicating it to God. You're inviting His presence to be the foundation of your space, and by doing so, you're closing the door on anything that doesn't come from Him. This process isn't just about purging physical objects. It's about spiritually claiming your space as holy ground, a sanctuary for peace and divine protection. By dedicating your bedroom to God, you're transforming it into a place where His love, grace, and protection will dwell fully. Now, I'm going to issue a challenge to you. If you're truly serious about protecting your home, your family, and your peace, I invite you to take on Padre Pio's 3-day Purification Challenge. This challenge is a step-by-step approach designed to reclaim your bedroom, your home, and your spiritual well-being. It's not just about cleansing your space. It's about protecting your heart and your family from the spiritual disturbances that may have been affecting your peace. Day 1. Start by removing any objects that could be inviting darkness or holding emotional weight. Look around and clear out anything tied to negative energy, unresolved trauma, or anything that doesn't serve your peace. Day 2. Purify your space using holy water. Pray Psalm 91 aloud as you move through your room, inviting God's protection and peace into every corner of your space. Let the words of the psalm wash over you, declaring God's protection over your home. Day 3. Consecrate your room with sacred objects, a crucifix, a rosary, or an image of the Virgin Mary. Pray the full rosary, inviting God's presence to fill every corner. This final step is about dedicating your room to God and ensuring that no darkness remains. This is a powerful, simple practice that can transform your spiritual environment, and I want you to commit to these 3 days with full intention. Your room can become a sanctuary, a space where peace and divine protection reign. And once you've experienced this transformation, I encourage you to share this message with someone who needs it. Together, we can reclaim our homes and our spirits, not just during Holy Week, but every day. Now, as we close, I'd like to lead us in a prayer of protection. Wherever you are, take a moment to bow your head and say this prayer with me. Lord, I dedicate my home to you. I ask for your protection over my family. I remove anything that does not belong to you. Fill my space with your peace and presence. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for joining me today. If this message spoke to you, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment below. Let's come together to make our homes holy sanctuaries, especially during this holy week. May God bless you and your family.